For just the third time in U.S. history, the Chief Justice of the United States has sworn in U.S. senators with an oath that they will conduct impartial justice in the impeachment trial of a sitting president. The trial is set to begin next Tuesday, keeping 4 2020 Democratic presidential contenders, who are also senators, in Washington, while other candidates continue their campaigns in Iowa ahead of the first primary contest of the year, coming in just over 2 weeks. Here to assess these historic times are Shields and Brooks, that is syndicated columnist Mark Shields and New York Times columnist David Brooks. Hello to both of you. So let's talk about this impeachment trial, Mark, that is almost here. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi waited a month to transmit the articles of impeachment over to the Senate. Did that turn out to be a smart move?
I think so. I mean, the political graveyard of dead ambitions is littered with the corpses of those who underestimated the Speaker. I think it's fair to say that the case has been strengthened against the President, and the call certainly for evidence has been strengthened in the intervening 4 weeks. We've learned that Ambassador John Bolton, former National Security Advisor, is now willing to testify if subpoenaed. We've learned about further Russia hacking of the gas company in Ukraine. We've learned at least allegations about the president's more deep involvement, all the way to the point of charges that operatives friendly to Trump campaign, a candidate for Congress, was physically surveilling in a hostile manner the United States ambassador to Ukraine and sending messages of the sort that we for a price we can get something done. I mean, so I don't think there's any question that this builds up the case for evidence and for new testimony.
So the case is stronger, David?
I think so. I take all that Mark just said as true on the negative side, and I think both are true. If you look at the polling over the last month, the number of people who think Trump should be removed has gone down slightly. The number of people who think he should not be removed has gone up by 4 or 5 percentage points. So now a slight plurality of Americans think he should not be reviewed, very slight. It's pretty much 50-50 basically. And so if you're looking for political pressure on Republican senators, you certainly don't see it so far out there. And if anything, I think the psychology of the moment is that stuff is a little old news. We've got this exciting election campaign. I think there's more interest in that than an impeachment. Right?
So the delay, you're saying, may have hurt the
I think it
Democratic
hurt and helped, but I certainly don't see any wellspring of public support.
Well, I think sadly, not disagreeing with David, but sadly we've learned that facts and hard evidence mean nothing to this president in his utterances, in his tweets, or in his rally statements. The question is, does the facts and hard evidence mean anything to the United States Senate? I mean, are we in a new era where facts and hard evidence are to be ignored? I mean, I think if you're playing Donald Trump's side and you've been an uncritical supporter, your position is weakened politically 4 weeks later, and you're not quite as sure. And I think you can look forward to 4 more weeks of not good information. The information coming forward is not going to exculpate the president. It's not going to vindicate the president. It's going to further implicate the president. I don't think there's any question about it. And I think they know it at this point.
Well, do you think more information is going to come in? I mean, there's a question, David.
Yes.
I mean, what do we expect at this trial? Because there's a question about whether there are going to be witnesses, whether there's going to be evidence presented.
Right. Yeah, no, I've learned to never underestimate the ability of Trump to self-sabotage. So I assume that he did more, and there's probably more even within hours. There might be more Parnas evidence and elsewhere. And so that'll continue to come out. In my view, frankly, when we saw the phone call transcript on day one of this whole deal, to me, he was 99% guilty at that moment. Mm-hmm. And now he's risen to 99.9% guilty. But it's a marginal difference. And it seems to me the Republicans are going to say bad, but not worthy of removal. And that seems to be the argument they're already making. That's the argument Sean Hannity is making on Fox. And so that's not an evidence argument. It's what kind of constitution you have or what are our standards argument. And I think that's what they're going to stick with. And I'm frankly struck by the number of people who've joined his defense team, Alan Dershowitz and Ken Starr. I would not do this. I mean, there's not, whatever you think of Trump or not, there's not a lot of good arguments on your side. Why would you want to go to a movie where you've got nothing but bad lines? And so I think they're all going to hurt them. I mean, I think they will get through this, But I would not say it's a career enhancer for anybody. I don't know why they're all signing up for this.
You mean because you think they'll say things that will hurt the case?
I mean, Schiff will just, he'll just walk all over them because he has the evidence on his side. So it's not a debate you want to have when you're on the losing side, and this is basically a political game to get through it.
David is right there. I mean, the old cliche about sports coaching, there's no I in team. This defense team has got a lot of I's in it. I mean, starting with Alan Dershowitz and Ken Starr, recently deposed president of Baylor University for an athletics scandal and other shortcomings, former federal judge. Pat Cipollone has the toughest job in the world managing it. I just don't see it as a cohesive unit, and I think the Democrats are really in a lot stronger position with Adam Schiff. And his team, I think they're far more cohesive, for one thing. We had exposed, Judy, this week, I mean, we even heard it on this show by one of the president's supporters, that it was all about corruption. The president was all he was looking for was to, hunt out. He was actually the Jane Addams or William Lloyd Garrison reformer of our time, seeking out corruption. And
a little history lesson. Thank you.
Then we find out that in Phil Rucker and Carol Lenig's book, the Stable Genius, that the president goes to the Secretary of State and says, we've got to get rid of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act because that's unfair to American companies because we've got to be able to bribe. We have to be able to bribe. I mean, this is the avenging angel of anti-corruption. So that one's just sort of exposed and exploded, I thought.
Yeah, which is weird because every CEO you talk to, they love that act because it gives them an excuse not to bribe. They don't want to do it.
That's right.
And they love the law.
Well, we're learning more, and the book, you're right, is getting a lot of attention. We look to be interviewing the authors in a few days. So while all this is going on, David, by the way, there is this contest for the Democratic nomination for president. And we mentioned Iowa caucuses coming up in just a little over 2 weeks. There was a debate, another debate this week, among 6 of the Democrats. What do we learn about the contest from this? What do we learn about the candidates?
Well, we had the spat at the end between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, and we had a strong Warren performance, I thought. A strong Biden performance in that he got through it. But I'm sort of impressed. We always look at candidates who are sliding.
That's not a high standard.
Not a high standard, but all he needed.
Get through it.
He
didn't have to leave the stage.
Yeah. It's like your first date. Oh, I got through it.
Yeah.
But so Warren is not doing well in the polls. And so if you look at just dumbly look at the Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, the first 4 or 5 states, she's like 4th in almost all of them. And that's not good. And so you think candidates, you always think, okay, try something new. And I thought, she tried something new with the Sanders direct challenge. I'm not sure it'll work. And then she was just more aggressive on a lot of issues. And so I think she's making as good a case that she can make to be relevant in the top 2 or 3.
What did you take?
I don't disagree. The only sense of urgency in that debate, I thought, on any party candidate's part, was Elizabeth Warren. I mean, she realized where she was, and I thought she baited Bernie Sanders into the trap 48 hours before, got him on the stage.
This is where she says that he told her a few years ago that he did not believe a woman could be elected
even
president.
though, in his defense, he had urged her to run in 2016 and said he would support her if she did, but prior to his own running when she decided not to. So he obviously must have thought a woman could win then. But there's no question she did it. She framed it well, and that was it. But what surprised me was Joe Biden's leading in the national polls, and nobody went after him. And nobody wanted to bell that cat or whatever phrase you want to use. I mean, so he kind of came out of it unscathed, even though it was not a spectacular performance by any means.
You thought somebody would go after him.
I thought they would. I thought Buttigieg would try to take him on. I thought Klobuchar would. I mean, Klobuchar was energetic and busy, even though she had a Rick Perry moment when she forgot the name of her very good friend, the governor of Kansas, Laura Kelly. No, I just didn't think anybody. Bernie Sanders, is Bernie Sanders, and he doesn't change. I mean, everything is through the prism. If you said Sunday school attendance was down, he'd say it's because Amazon's not paying any taxes. And, Amazon is not paying any taxes, but maybe there isn't a direct causation. But that Bernie, you can count on Bernie to deliver his message.
Yeah, and with 6 candidates and maybe 8 in the field, really, or so, it's always in all of the non-Biden candidates. It's in their interest that somebody take on Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It's not in their interest for them to be the one taking on Biden. You
that's
want to be
the-
the beneficiary of the assassin, not the assassin.
Not the one
And
yourself.
so I do think they're leaving him off for that reason. And I wonder if the final moment where she refused to shake Bernie Sanders' hand, Elizabeth Warren, whether that was thought about in advance or whether it was just a spontaneous moment of anger. It became the television moment of the whole debate.
Well, she looked. This is after the debate was over.
After
She
the debate
walked
was
over.
over.
He extended his hand. She didn't accept it. But then we later heard her on the microphone saying, "You call me a liar on national
National TV,
television."
that's right.
But just quickly, David, to get to the point, the dispute between her and Bernie Sanders is over whether a woman can be elected president. I mean, are we still having that discussion?
Yeah, so I think it's a
2020?
little bogus. A, Bernie Sanders denies saying it. B, I don't believe he believes that, as for the reasons Mark said. And so it's picking up on an issue which I think is an attempt for her to cast him aside. I don't think it's a particularly relevant issue because I think his record is one of respect toward women, and I don't think we're having that argument.
It is still an open question. I don't think it's a little
Whether
bit,
a woman can
It's
be
a little
elected
bit of the
president.
Al Smith, Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy had to win the primary in West Virginia, which was 97% non-Catholic or 97% Protestant, to prove that a Catholic was electable or at least nominatable in 1960, some 32 years later. Hillary Clinton's defeat raised the question, and raised the doubts. People don't want to say it openly, but whether a woman, and especially, I think, against Donald Trump.
Why?
That Donald Trump is the alpha male, and is going to be tough enough to take him on. I think that is the lingering doubt in some Democrats' minds.
Yeah, it's in a doubt, but it's projecting an ugly thing onto people that you don't know.
I agree.
And every time the American public is faced with this, we can't elect a Catholic, we can't elect a black guy,
Yeah.
they do. And Hillary Clinton lost the electoral vote, but I don't think it was because she was a woman. I think it was for a lot of other reasons.
But I mean, neither one of these women candidates who are on the debate stage are shrinking violets. Neither Elizabeth Warren
No.
nor
Never
Amy
Amy
Klobuchar
No, I agree.
is someone who retreats in
You wouldn't call
in a
either one of
challenge.
them a shrinking violet. No, I'd call them a rose.
I don't know what name they would. Just quickly, 30 seconds. Michael Bloomberg, almost what is it, $200 million in ads. We don't have time to
Yes.
talk about it, but he's spending a lot of money. I saw he's 5th in some national polls.
He's a gift. He's a gift. Judy, he bought a $10 million spot for the Super Bowl. Donald Trump responded by spending $10 million. Donald Trump's terrified of Michael Bloomberg. Let's be honest about it. He's doing a great service to the country, to the party. He will not be the nominee.
We will get to expand on that next Friday. Mark Shields, David Brooks. Thank you both.